Hi everybody, welcome back to another SUPboarder video. This video we're going to be looking at Gladiator SUP and looking at their origin range of paddleboards, which is their cheaper price point range of paddleboards that probably a lot of you will be interested to hear about in 2022. We'll also be doing other overview videos of the Pro and the Elite inflatable paddleboards that they have in their range as well. So definitely check out those videos for extra information and to really help you understand which range of paddleboards in Gladiator SUP is best for you. And of course, if this is the first time you watched a SUPboarder video, welcome. We do lots of different videos from all types of brands, hard composite boards, inflatable paddleboards, full-on performance race boards or surf SUPs, and we even dabble into a bit of wing and foiling stuff as well. So definitely check out the main SUPboarder website and also our YouTube channel for loads more videos. Right, let's crack on with the main overview of the Gladiator SUP origin range. So if you go on the Gladiator website, you will see that there's 12 boards in total in this range, which can be a little overwhelming for some people, but really when you start breaking it down, they have got the key sizes covered. Whether you're a child, a lighter person, a heavier person who wants a bit more stability, but you're really looking for a board to get you into the sport. So you're not looking for something that's going to cost a lot of money, but you're still wanting good value for money. Gladiator SUP really do pride themselves on making a good range of thicknesses of paddleboards to really help you get the most out of your paddling sport. They offer a 4.7 inch thick board and a 5.9 inch thick board. We might as well talk about this straight away. Why is there a difference, and really what difference does it make to you paddling it? Well, in effect, a 5.9 inch thick board is going to make you stand much higher out of the water, and therefore you are going to get more affected by the windage on the board, so as the wind hits the side of the board, and also because you're higher off the water, you may find it a little bit more unstable. But a 4.7 inch board will float lower in the water and it will be easier to climb back on. So why do they even offer a 5.9 inch thick board? Well, the thicker you go with the board, the stiffer the board will be at a same pressure. So if we had two boards, one at 4.7 inches thick and one at 5.9 inches thick, and you both pump them up to 15, 16, 18 psi, whatever the pressure you choose, this 5.9 inch thick board will be stiffer. It won't bend as much. So if you're a heavier person, you're better off looking towards a thicker base board, better performance when you're paddling it, and you will be sinking the board lower in the water, so the windage issue won't be so much of a problem with you. So from here on, in all the videos, to be honest, with the Gladiator range, if you are 75 kg and down, definitely look towards the 4.7 inch thick boards. You will still be able to use a 4.7 inch thick board up to about 100 kilos, but definitely getting yourself on a 5.9, if you're 80 kilos plus, you will feel more of a benefit. Lighter paddlers wanting to go for a longer touring or race shape may even choose a 5.9 because it will give them added stiffness and the ability to carry more gear. So that's the thicknesses covered. What about the widths of paddleboards, and why is there so many different widths in the origin range, from 28 right up to 34 inches in width? Well, the wider you go, just like any sort of sport, the more stability you're going to get from whatever craft you're on. So a 34 inch wide board is going to be way more stable than a 28 inch wide board. The downside to having a wide board though is it's going to be slower to paddle. So if you're wanting to paddle a bit quicker, a narrower base board will be that much better. But if you're a heavier base rider, definitely, and you want to have a bit more stability, maybe you get a board that gives you a bit more confidence, going for a wider base board, 32 plus, 32, 34 will be a better size. And now quickly covering off the length of the paddleboard, because there's lots of different lengths of paddleboards in the range as well. The longer you go, the more straight line tracking you're going to have, the easier it's going to be to paddle in a straight line, and the faster it's going to paddle in that straight line as well, because you've got more waterline length. So the shorter boards are going to turn around a bit quicker and they're not going to be so fast to paddle, and the longer boards are the opposite. Which is why overall, bringing in the thickness, the width and the length, most people start off with around a 10'6" by 32 inches wide board. This is why the origin range has two key boards that I would say 80% of people are going to be looking at. The 10'6" by 32 and the 10'8" by 34, 5.9 inches thick. So two key size boards there. The bigger board, the 10.8, that's for people definitely 80 kilos plus, people who are wanting that more stability, wanting an all-round board that they can paddle in all water states. The 10.6 by 32, 4.7, that is the board that most people are going to go for, but they are going to be around the 75 and down weight, a good all-round size, a nice amount of stability, going to be really comfortable to paddle in all water conditions. Gladiator do also have an SC range of paddleboards in there. They're basically the same paddleboards as the main Origin range, except they come with kayak seat attachments stuck onto the board as well. So if you want to go down that multi-sport kayaking with your SUP route, those boards will be better for that. An average weights of those boards, you're going to be sitting, the 10.6 by 32 is sitting just under 10 kilograms when we weighed it. Your bigger boards, your 12'6" boards, they're going to be sitting more like 11 kilograms. So still fairly lightweight for the construction of the boards, which is what we're going to speak about right now. Now, constructions of inflatable paddleboards are incredibly important because there is so many paddleboards out on the market. We get so many questions from you about which paddleboard is best to buy, and 99% of the time it comes down to the type of construction that is in the paddleboard and also the information that is actually going on the website from the brand. Are they actually really telling you how the paddleboard is made? Do they actually know how the paddleboard is made? It's a funny thing to say, but a lot of brands, they just sort of slap on a badge and say it's made like this, I hope, and you get the board and it's hopefully going to perform like this. Gladiator are completely the opposite. They really do focus a lot of time and energy on getting the construction dialed into the boards for the price point, and also making sure they're making you fully aware of the construction that you're going to be buying into and really why you should be buying into a Gladiator SUP. So all paddleboards have an internal core of drop stitch, which is basically a nylon thread which goes from top to bottom and that keeps its rigidity. There is a difference between drop stitch material for sure. You'll find the cheaper price point brands that don't know and don't really care about their rider sort of user experience are going to put cheaper base drop stitch in there. Gladiator will use premium drop stitch on all of their paddle boards, and then what's on top of that, which is really important, there's multiple layers of PVC that is fused together. So all these sort of words start to sound quite confusing, but in the olden days you had a PVC layer and a PVC layer and you put some glue on it and you stuck the two layers together. Now instead of sticking the two layers together, the layers are heated and they are stuck together as one, so you reduce the weight. And in between the two layers, they have got the Den textile substrate, which is another layer of material, which is going to give you more stiffness, more hard wearing, and just make your board last a little bit longer. And the way the Origins are finished off with the side rails of the board is they have got the X Strong rails. That's two layers of PVC material on the rails of the board. Lots of other cheaper price point brands, they just roll the rails in a little bit and slap one layer of PVC around the rail. And therefore, obviously, if you get a puncture or wear through that rail, your board is going to leak. So there's two layers of PVC material on the rails. Also, the actual material that these new Origins are finished off with, it does look incredibly similar to a very premium product paddleboard on the market. I'm not sure if it's exactly the same, but it has a very nice sort of silver sort of mesh weave fabric on the top layer of the PVC as well. So it does look very, very smart and finishes off the board really well. If you're interested to find out more about the other boards, the Pro and the Elite range, which the constructions get better and better, definitely check out those other videos, but just know they're going to be stiffer and lighter the more money you put into your board. Before we move on to what you get as a package with these boards, and coming off of the construction, I'm going to talk about the deflection test that we put all our paddle boards into. The deflection is how much your board bends under your feet. We put all our inflatable paddle boards in a very simple test on a gap of 1.5 meters apart with a weight of 75 kilograms in the center of the board. Now, because the Gladiator, the Origin range, and all of the range, the Pro and the Elite, they have a high recommended or maximum recommended pressure on these boards, up to 26 PSI, which is a huge rating to say that you can pump your boards up to. That says a number of things straight away. It says that the brand's really comfortable for obviously you to pump your board up to that. It says they've done a lot of testing to that. And that really sort of says to me they're putting the money where their mouth is. If some iSUP brands, they say recommend a pressure of 12 to 15 PSI, it doesn't really stand up as strong as somebody who says the recommended pressure is up to 26 PSI. Anyway, for these tests, we pump them up to 18 and 20 PSI, just to give you an idea how much pressure makes a difference. We also tested the 4.7 inch thick board and the 5.9 inch thick board to give you an idea of how much the thickness affects the stiffness as well. So the 4.7 inch thick board pumped up to 18 PSI dropped 17 millimeters, but then if you increase that pressure to 20 PSI, it drops 15 millimeters. If we then look at the 5.9 inch thick board, at 18 PSI, it dropped 13 millimeters, and at 20 PSI, it gets stiffer again and drops 12 millimeters. So you can see there clearly where the thickness of the board and the more pressure you put into your board makes a difference to the stiffness of your board. So if you are wanting a stiff board to paddle a little bit further, you want to be a bit more efficient, maybe you want to have the dog on the front so you don't want to wobble around so much, putting that more pressure in is going to make a difference. And as I said, they say that you can take the pressure even higher than the 20 PSI, so you can keep pumping. So that does say a lot with, again, the construction they put on these boards. And for the price point, that's pretty outstanding. To put it into context of other boards we've tested, the average of a 5.9 or a 6 inch thick board, can't get my words out, is probably around 15 millimeters as an average. The stiffest board we've ever tested has been 7 millimeters. But look out for the Elite video to see how stiff those boards become, just out of interest. So look out for that one. So you're seeing that averagely they're doing pretty well, and that's at the cheaper price point. We've reviewed much more expensive boards at less stiffness than this. So they are stiff and well-made boards as far as our deflection test is concerned. So now let's look at the complete package you get with the Origin boards. First off, let's start with the bag. The bag is actually a really outstanding bag. That's probably one of the best value bags we've ever seen for the price point of SUP. It's really well padded shoulder straps. You can put the shoulder straps in and out, so you can use it without the shoulder straps if you want to. Like if you're going in an airplane, you might want to tuck them all away. They've got a nice flat Velcro sort of pouch. You can hide them all away. The bag's nice and comfortable on your back. It's a good size. You get the board in, which is nice. So you haven't got to be too worried about rolling it up properly. You can just shove your board in. Enough room for all of the pump and the paddle and everything else that comes with it. This bag hasn't got wheels. That's a big difference between this bag and the other bags in the Gladiator range. But the bag is very much the same bag apart from that. So you really are getting a nice, good quality and a good looking bag that comes with the package. Now looking at the paddle, you get a 3-piece paddle, of course, so it fits nicely in the bag. It is a fiberglass nylon paddle. So what's that? That's a fiberglass shaft, which is good because it's nice and stiff, brings the weight down, and you get a nylon blade. Nylon blades are great because they're really hard wearing. If it was fiberglass, it would probably crack and break, but it's very hard wearing, so the kids can dig sand castles and smash against rocks and it doesn't really matter. One of the things I really like, and it's standard with all the Gladiator SUP boards, is in the repair kit you get, which is here you get a valve key, so you can take your valve out and give it a clean. You get some patches if ever you have a problem with your paddleboard. They actually supply you a Allen key to tighten up your paddle adjustment joints here, which is a really simple and nice thing, and it just shows, again, they're thinking about you using the paddleboard, not just selling it to you. They're thinking about the whole user experience. Just the little things like that, which for us make a difference. The blade shape on the paddle is what we would class as okay. It's just a standard blade shape. It's not going to be super efficient, so if you were like, I want to start winning races, you're going to be upgrading the paddle. But for 99.99% of you who are getting into paddleboarding, this is a really comfortable, nice paddle to use. And because it's fiberglass, it really doesn't weigh very much at all. And the big sneaky bonus with this, because it's a 3-piece and they've kept the top section so it can fit into the bottom section, you can make a tiny little kid's paddle as well, which is how our daughter got into paddleboarding, by doing it with paddles like this. So that's an added little bonus there. If you've got any kids that are going to go to paddleboarding, you don't need to buy them a separate paddle. They can actually have a go on yours as well. Looking at the pump you get as standard with the package, it's a Bravo pump. Bravo are one of the best inflatable paddleboard pump manufacturers in the market. It easily gets the pressure into the board in quite a short amount of time really. It's a two-way pump, which means you can turn the nozzle over and it will pump on the upstroke and on the downstroke, and then when the pumping gets hard you turn that over and you just pump on the downstroke. This is a very common pump to see with a lot of paddleboards, and to be honest it's actually a better pump than we see from other brands at the price point. So you're getting a pretty good paddleboard pump. And this pump will actually pump up to 28 PSI. So if you did want to go to your 26 PSI, you're not going to have a problem with this pump. Another nice little feature that they've definitely changed for 2022 is the fin that you get with all of the Origin boards, and even the Elite and the Pro boards. They're all much, much better this year. This is now a plastic based fin, so you haven't got to worry about dragging it up the beach, but it's nice and stiff. It's nice and stiff. So the good thing about that is it's going to give you a good amount of performance, and it's not going to flex too much, because a fin is what keeps you going in that straighter line, and having a stiffer fin will make a difference. All these boards come with US fin boxes, which is pretty much the most common fin box on the planet. So if you did want to upgrade your fin, get a bigger one, or if you broke one, buy one from somebody else, any fin will fit in there. It's got a simple screw thread at the front there. It comes with a toolless key, which means you can just do it up with your finger, and it's very quick and easy. And again, another bonus, in the repair kit, they've not given you one fin bolt, but they've given you two. So if you do lose one, you have got another one there, just in case. You've got a nice coiled leash that comes as standard with the package. Leashes are a really important topic. They always have been, to be honest, with paddleboarding, but it's really important that you've got a good quality leash, and having a coiled leash is fantastic, because as you're paddling along, 90% of the time the leash will stay on the back of your board, so if you get seaweed or sticks caught in it, it won't get caught around the leash. It is really important to mention though, if you are going to be using your paddleboard and there's any sort of water movements, that could be tide, it could be rivers, fresh water or salt water, please make sure your leash has a quick release on it as well. What we mean by that is just a simple quick release belt that you can take off, and your leash is attached around your waist. This is an ankle leash, so it's absolutely fine for paddling in still sea conditions, but definitely just be aware of that. If you're paddling in tidal or moving waters, add this leash onto a quick release leash. The look of the Origin boards is very different from the other boards from Gladiator SUP. The grey finish is smart on the boards. You've got your crocodile skin deck grip on here, EVA deck grip, a nicely padded carrier handle. You've also got carrier handles at the front and at the back. You've got a towing eye underneath the nose, and you've still got bungees on these boards, and the graphics and the layout of these boards does look pretty funky. And another telltale which shows you they're going a little bit more than the average cheaper price point board is the bigger boards have actually got back bungees as well. They're a funky little way that they've offset them there, but they have given you the option to have your Crocs and your sandals at the back of your board as well as at the front. Looking at the warranty, you get a standard with the Gladiator Origin boards, you get a 3-year warranty, which is quite a lot, to be honest, for again a price point of a board like this. Most boards you'll find you get 2 years. Some of the most expensive boards in the market that offer the biggest warranty, you'll get 5 years. So having 3 years at this price point is a pretty strong shout. And again, it's another thing where they're saying we stand by our products. So now let's move on to cons and then finish off with a summary of the Gladiator SUP Origin range. Negatives of the board, to be totally honest, there isn't a massive amount of negatives. The rocker line maybe on some of the 10.6s we use maybe could do with being a little bit less to make the board a little bit more efficient. The flatter your board is in general, the faster it's going to travel. But it's a very minute observation for us. For most of you who are paddling in all water conditions, surfing, maybe paddling off the beach, playing about with family, it's going to be absolutely fine for all those types of paddling. The bungee layout is maybe a little bit interesting, and you can't potentially get as much cargo on the front of the board as your more traditional sort of like X style bungees. But to be fair, the Origin boards, I think they're absolutely fine for the amount of cargo you're going to be putting on these boards. So you can still get a 20-30 litre dry bag in the front here, and as I said, you can still pop a drink or your flip-flops on the back of the bigger boards, not a problem at all. So it's an observation thing, it's not a massive con. To give you a summary of the boards, there is a good range of paddleboards in there. They really have thought about the thicknesses, the constructions and the overall packages with this Origin range of paddleboards. If you're that person wanting to paddle further, faster, go around the corner, do a bit of exploring, definitely look towards the longer base boards. If you're just a person that wants to get into paddleboarding, give it a go and just have some fun with the family, look towards the more 10.6, 10.8 size boards. And again, lighter people, 75 kg and down, definitely 70 kg and down, you're going to be looking towards the 4.7 inch thick boards. And the heavier people, more weight on the board, look towards the 5.9 inch thick board. By them saying they can take up to 26 PSI, give you a 3-year warranty, and also give you a nice overall package at the price point, Gladiator SUP are really trying to captivate you to get you into buying a Gladiator board. And to be totally honest, this is a very good range to start your paddleboard journey. Hope you found this overview video of the Gladiator Origin range interesting and informative. If you've got any questions, comments, have you got these boards already? Have you owned Gladiators last year? Let us know your feedback in the comments below and get your full review on the SUPboarder website. We would love to hear your feedback so then we can feed these to the brands to make their boards even better into the future. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on another video real soon. And remember to look out for the other videos on the Gladiator SUP range as well.